The humidity hung thick in the air that night at Victoria Harbour, where two legends would collide in what many called the most anticipated martial arts showdown of the decade. I was there, pressed against the ropes in the third row, when Jackie Chan, the acrobatic virtuoso who'd conquered every tournament from Bangkok to Beijing, stepped into the circle to face Bolo Yeung, the muscle-bound destroyer whose mere presence had reduced grown men to trembling shadows. The crowd's roar shook the temporary stadium erected along the waterfront. 20,000 voices unified in anticipation of violence elevated to art form. Jackie entered first, his movements fluid as water, that trademark grin playing across his features despite the gravity of what awaited him. At 42 years old and standing 5'8", he looked almost fragile next to his opponent, but those of us who'd followed his career knew better. This was a man who'd survived 300 documented film injuries, who'd turned his body into a weapon of improvisation and creativity. His style defied convention, mixing Hapkido's flowing defenses with the explosive strikes of Northern Shaolin, all wrapped in an unpredictability that had frustrated opponents for 2 decades. Then, Bolo emerged from the tunnel, and the atmosphere shifted like a storm front rolling in from the South China Sea. At 59, the Chinese Hercules carried 240 pounds of granite-hewn muscle on his 5'6" frame. Every sinew visible beneath skin stretched tight as drum leather. His face remained expressionless, those penetrating eyes scanning the crowd with the detached interest of a butcher appraising meat. Where Jackie embodied motion, Bolo represented immovable force, a practitioner of old-school Chinese martial arts forged in the brutal training halls of Guangzhou, where weakness meant elimination and strength meant survival. The referee brought them to center ring, and I noticed Jackie's hands trembling slightly as he touched gloves. Not fear, adrenaline. Bolo's expression never changed, that stone-faced mask revealing nothing of the calculations happening behind those dark eyes. Round 1 exploded with Jackie circling left, testing distance with quick jabs that snapped like whip cracks. Bolo advanced methodically, cut him off the ring with the patience of a man who'd fought in over 300 tournaments. Jackie's speed was remarkable, darting in to land a combination to the body before pirouetting away from Bolo's counter, a thunderous hook that displaced air with audible force. The older fighter's power was terrifying. When he connected with Jackie's shoulder guard, the impact echoed through the stadium and sent Jackie stumbling 3 steps backward. But Jackie adjusted, employing the environmental awareness that made him legendary. He used the entire ring, bouncing off the ropes to generate momentum, even incorporating a tumbling pass that brought gasps from the crowd and allowed him to strike Bolo's blindside. The younger man was winning on points, his speed overwhelming Bolo's defenses with volume punching that accumulated damage like interest compounding. By round 3, however, the tide began shifting. Bolo's conditioning, decades of iron body training and qigong practice allowed him to absorb punishment that would have crumpled lesser fighters. Meanwhile, Jackie's breathing had become labored, his movements losing the crispness that defined his early onslaught. Bolo sensed it immediately, like a predator detecting injury, and began pressing forward with increased aggression. Round 4 brought the turning point that still gives me chills to recall. Jackie attempted his signature move, a spinning back fist combined with a leg sweep, but fatigue made him a half-second too slow. Bolo caught the leg mid-sweep, and for a frozen moment, they locked eyes. Then Bolo's right hand flashed forward, a straight punch delivered with the full rotation of his massive shoulders, catching Jackie square in the the solar plexus. The sound was sickening, like a sledgehammer striking a side of beef. Jackie folded, his body betraying him as he gasped for air that wouldn't come. The referee started counting, and I remember thinking this was it, the end of an era. But at 7, Jackie rolled to his knees, then forced himself upright on shaking legs, his face a mask of determination that transformed pain into pure will. The crowd erupted. Jackie had survived, but we all knew something fundamental had shifted. Bolo had proven that speed meant nothing if you couldn't maintain it, that all the acrobatic brilliance in the world couldn't overcome the simple mathematics of accumulated damage against an opponent who refused to break. The final rounds played out like a Greek tragedy. Jackie fought with everything remaining in his arsenal: creativity, desperation, and heart that bordered on supernatural. He landed more strikes, his combination still beautiful despite exhaustion. But Bolo kept advancing, each of his punches carrying the weight of decades spent hardening his body into a weapon, absorbing Jackie's attacks like a mountain weathering wind. In round 8, Bolo landed another devastating body shot, then followed with a hook that sent Jackie crashing to the canvas. This time, he didn't rise at 7 or 8. At 9, his hand moved, but his body refused the command. Bolo Yeung won that night through the most fundamental principle of martial arts, the ability to endure beyond your opponent's capacity to continue. Jackie's speed, creativity, and technical superiority had been undeniable, but Bolo's conditioning, power, and decades of iron body training proved that sometimes the old ways, the brutal foundations, overcome modern innovation. The Chinese Hercules had demonstrated that martial arts isn't always about beauty or technique. Sometimes it's about who can withstand the storm and still be standing when the thunder fades. As Jackie was helped from the ring to respectful applause, both men had proven their greatness, but only one had proven indestructible.